Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson I want to do one of my favorite things, which is to tie some songs together, show how some of the ideas of one song will flavor the ideas of another, how they're all intertwined, and how learning just a few things on the guitar will open up a whole world of different theoretical ideas to you. We started off a while ago. After we built up our chords, we put them into this package where we're holding on to these two notes. I called these the anchored chords. You've got G, a version of C called C add 9 or sometimes C add 2, and then point your finger to the 3rd string 2nd fret and we hit 4 strings, we get a D sus4. This song doesn't actually fully use the D sus4, it actually switches to a normal D chord, but the sus4 won't hurt it, and especially you won't even notice if you don't hit this top string. A D sus4, if I don't hit that pinky note, and a D are the same chord. If I do hit the pinky note, I get this cool dangling sus4 idea, and there's the actual D. I haven't shown you the actual D chord yet, perhaps I'll do that today, but I want to run through that again. This is a normal chord progression in the key of G. These are primary chords in G. There's 3 primary chords in every key. They're the 3 major chords. They're the 1, the 4, and the 5. If you go looking for them, if we're in G, you'd count from G, that's the 1st chord, and you go alphabetically. In music, right after G, you return to A. So G, A, B, C is the 4th chord, D is the 5th. So songs in G are going to have G chords, C chords, and D chords for the most part. Those will be your major chords. Every rule, of course, is made to be broken, and music is no exception, with all kinds of creativity allowed, but this is the main idea we have. We saw the same thing when we looked at Wild Thing. In that song we had A, D, E, D, A, D, E, D. If I start on A is 1, A, B, C, D is the 4, and E is the 5. So that song had A, Ds, and Es. This one, G, Cs, and Ds. In Good Riddance, we play the G twice, the C once, and the D once. We did it just with down strums at first. C, D, back to G. Then we could do down and ups as you get better. Then if you were developing more and more into this, I gave you a rhythm. Down, down, up, down, up. There's a bit of a picking pattern involved there. They don't hit specifically one string only. There's more of a little bit of a strum that highlights single strings. I haven't taught you that, and we probably will get to that another time. Right now I want to think about that idea though, and flip this around. In Sweet Home Alabama, it's like they took the exact same song and just turned it around. Sweet Home Alabama's a couple of decades older than Good Riddance, of course. What's interesting in this one is we're in G, but we don't start on the G. I'd say 99% of the time you start on the chord that is the key note. But in this case, they start on that 5 chord. G was 1, G, A, B, C is 4, D is 5. Then to the 4 chord, then to the 1. We're working our way toward the key. So if I took the exact same idea and with that same rhythm, you'd hear that you could do a pretty decent job of at least covering part of this song. You could play along with a band like that. Their rhythm is different, but that's the first idea I would do. I just take this song and reverse it. G, C, D, go backwards, D, C, If I was playing with you, I would have you stop after this G, and I would play this lick. So you could go D, and then I could come in to the C, to the G, you stop and I take the lick. After a time, you won't be satisfied with that. You'll want to play these chords as they're actually done. So let's do that. On the D chord, we'll hit the 4th string, then the 2nd string, then the 3rd string. On the C chord, I'll have you do the same thing. Those of you who really know guitar and have already played this song, don't write me any notes about how I'm doing it wrong. This is just getting started on it. So I've done 4th string, 2nd string, 3rd string. The C I'll do the same thing, but the root of the chord is the 5th string. So I got D, 4th string, C, then G will hit the 6th string where the root is, and the 3rd string. So it's D, D is 4th, 2nd, and 3rd strings. 4, 4, 2nd, 3rd. C is 5th string. 5, 5, 2nd, 3rd. And G is 6th string. You would be playing through that, and I would be playing this riff. Again, in private lessons, I would do that over and over and over until you were feeling good with this. Then I would add one more note. Right before the chord change, you want to hit that 4th string again. So we go D, 4th, 4th, 2nd, 3rd. Then I hit that 4th string open as I'm moving into the C chord. And I hit it again as I move into G. D, D, on the C and the G, there's one more detail. When we get to the note, the C note, bass note, instead of hitting it just twice, we'll hit it with the 3rd fret note, open, and back on with the C. D, C, same with the G. D, C, G. If you've got that, then I would bring you into the riff. It's an E minor or G major pentatonic. Open 2, and open and 2 on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings are featured here first. Usually you wouldn't play those all with your pointer finger. I tend to in this song because I am allocating the other fingers to the chords. So this little curved line means I'll hit the 5th string open and then place the 2 on there. And I haven't picked it again. It's called a hammer-on. While the string is ringing, you hammer that finger onto that 2nd fret, creating the new sound. You need a fair amount of force to do that. As you're learning, again, depending where you are at this, you may only want to pick each of these notes. And as a beginner, what I'm doing right now would sound just fine. there's a lesson involved in hammer-ons and pull-offs. We're not going to worry about that just yet today. The idea is you hit the open string and hammer the 2, the 2nd fret on. The opposite happens here. You play the 2 on the 4th string and you pluck the string with that same finger as it comes off the string. So this is called a pull-off. These are both legatos. Legatos are notes that we play smoothly and don't pick again. So we hammer on this one. On this string we play an open and a 2. But we don't pick after the 2 to get this open. We just pull this finger off it. On a distorted electric guitar, you could just lift that finger and you'll hear the note fairly clearly. The real idea behind it, though, is to come off that string with a picking motion. And we do it up here on the 3rd string too. That's a pull-off as well. So here it is, still in slow motion. C, G, all your listeners will totally recognize the song from that. I'm going to tab all that out in a second. The guitarist builds this riff up, improvising on it each time around. The second time through, he does another version of the pentatonic where he starts traveling down the 3rd string. He'll do a 2nd fret on the 3rd string, this one, and pull it off, then pluck it again. So you get 3 notes. Then he does that at the 4th fret. So 2, pulled off to open and open, 4. Then on his electric guitar, he grabs this 5th fret note and bends it all the way to a 7. I can't get there on my acoustic, so I slide into the 7. So I go 2-0-0 with a pull-off, 4-0-0 with a pull-off, and I slide into 7. The moment you get there, you hit these open strings of the D chord. There's several more licks that he improvises on, but we'll leave it at that. I'm going to write the tab out and describe it to you, but then you'll notice in retrospect that I have shown you the tab over the other parts of the song. First, here's a quick description of what I mentioned about the primary chords. In every key, we have 3 major chords. They're the primary chords. You get them by counting from the first chord of the song, the key chord, also called the tonic. You start on that, that's number 1. We use Roman numerals for chords. G is 1. If we're in the alphabet, G, A, B, C is 4, so it's our 4 chord. It's a major chord in this key. D is 5. We had those chords in Good Riddance. The other chords you find in there, if we stay within the key, we're going to play minor chords or even a diminished chord. But these are the 3 major chords. This is why you hear a lot of people joke about rock bands only knowing 3 chords. That's because all you need is 3 chords. The 1, 4, 5, the primary chords in the key of A, where A is 1, are A, D, and E. If you count from A, which is the key, A, B, C, D is 4, and E is 5. And we found that in Wild Thing. You'll hear a signature sound to that, usually a very pleasant, upbeat, kind of happy sound. These 3 major chords harmonize all the notes in the key, which is why they're sufficient for the entire thing. Here's a reasonable picking pattern for Good Riddance. I often play this finger style. with a pick. It's not exactly those strings because they are strumming at those strings. With an emphasis on the highlight notes that they want. And here's the starting version that I used for Sweet Home Alabama. When you're in the D chord, your chord already has this open string, this second fret on the third string, and this third fret. As I said, we can be playing whatever we want on the top string. In this song, we're not hitting that note. So it says the fourth string is played twice, which gives you these open notes that are already in the chord. The second string is played. You're holding that third fret note. And then you play the second fret note on the third string. Beginners looking at tabs will often try to create this. Okay, I got open, open, and 3 and 2. And then 3 and 3 and 3 and oh. But you want to look at the chords you're in. So this is all in a D chord. Open, open, 3, 2. This is in that C add 9 chord. This 3 is in the chord already on the 5th string. This 3 is on the 2nd string. And the 3rd string is open. And this is the G chord at the end. Then we added a note. Right before the chord change each time, we'll play this open 4th string again. On the G chord, we'll play an open 3rd string right at the end. That one feels more like it's part of the licks coming up than that original chord. So now I have this, open, open, 3, 2, open, 3, 3, 3, 0, open. D chord, open, open, 3, 2, open 4th string as I switch. C, open 4th string as I switch to G. That last little open G comes in right before the licks. Now, one more thing. Between these C's, we remove that finger and hit the open A string. Between the G's, we remove the 3rd finger and hit the open E string in between. So these notes are 3rd fret, 5th string, 3, then open 5th string, then 3 on the 5th string. Repeat that idea on G, 3 on the 6th string, open, 3 on the 6th string. So left to right, open, open, 3, 2, open, 3, oh, 3, 3, open, open 4th, 3, open, 3, open 3rd, last open 3rd there as we go into our riff. Here I've written the riff that we talked about earlier, O2 on the 5th string, H-O, and the curved line joining them is the hammer-on. On the 4th string we go 2, open, and then 2-O, and a P-O is pull off, which is to remove that 2nd finger, allowing yourself to hear the open. Just lifting up into the air won't quite do it, although at high speeds that's pretty close to what we're actually doing. And on the 3rd string, 2, O. So you do this line with the chords, this would be the riff, and then this lick. Back to the long riff on the chords, and then this lick, 2 pull off to open, 4 pull off to open. And I told you here this 5. You see the curved arrow is a bend, and the target sounding note is the note from the 7th fret. I'm not going to get there as a beginner. You're probably not getting there right away. And on an acoustic, you may never get there. I can't get there with this string. So I'm just going to slide into it instead. I'll make that compromise to play it on this guitar. So we have D, C, G, D, C, G. He just starts improvising. These are written out in guitar magazines, and you'll get a tutorial online easily that shows you all of the ideas. This scale is the pentatonic scale. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Don't think of these notes as random. Be aware that you're playing opens and twos on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. This isn't just arbitrary stuff that you would learn for one song and then dismiss. This is a pentatonic scale, and we'll look at the details behind that another day. Thanks very much. Hopefully this works out for you. Have a good one. Bye.